I titled the presentation, The King of Burgers and the Queen of the Silver Camps. Give me 13 minutes and it'll all make sense. You can buy my stock under the symbol BRC in Canada. We're also under the symbol BKRRF on the OTCQX. If you want to sell my stock, I don't know how to do that. Forward-looking statements. Certainly a lot to look forward to. The thing I'm looking forward to most is the last tax law season of this rate hike cycle to be coming to a close very quickly. The sale ends December 29th, not the 31st in Canada. So who are we? We're focused on high-grade opportunities in Nevada. We've got a lot of gold and silver down in Tonopah. We made a multi-ounce gold discovery up by two of Hecla's mines up in northern Nevada just last year. And in our search for gold and silver down in Tonopah, it turns out we've got a lot of lithium right at surface. It's not just a famous silver district that we've consolidated down there, but there's lithium up there. It's emerging as a real big district. I'm going to be talking most about our Tonopah West asset. It's 100 million ounces, block diluted grade at over a half kilogram per ton. It's just silver and gold. We're not a zinc mine pretending to be a silver mine. We're not a copper mine pretending to be a silver mine. It's silver with a pesky gold byproduct. We're on private land in Nevada. We're halfway between Las Vegas and Reno. The highway that connects the two cuts right across our property. And as I said, the King of Burgers, I've got 100 million ounces silver underneath Burger King. It's known as the Queen of the Silver Camps. It's the Queen because the Comstock was the king. It's the second largest historic district in Nevada. We're the first group to come in 100 years and bring exploration to it since production shut down. What we're showing is the old-timers left a hell of a lot of gold and silver behind. From a metallurgical point of view, cyanide soluble. We've got 87% silver recoveries, 95% gold, and that's just bottle rolls. This is a straightforward district. It's well known, it's well understood, and we've stepped out 4 kilometers along strike now from where the old-timers left off. Within that, though, we've got 100 million ounces. I'm going to show you in a few minutes why we think we can get it to about 150 on one more round of drilling before we slap some economics on it. But we are backstopped by 100 million ounces. So, anyone coming to a conference like this wants to know how to make some money. Well, this chart here shows our enterprise value ounce in the ground. Now, what you'll see, these show all of the silver projects in the industry that are above 80 million ounces. The first thing that should stand out is there's not many of them. Now, along the x-axis, that shows the average grade. What you'll see is the silver business is severely lacking in grade. There's a lot of marginal projects out there. We're not one of them. There's only about 3 high-grade stories in the industry that we're looking at. You've got Dolly Varden, you've got Vizsla, and you've got Blackrock. Now, the gold bubbles denote pure play precious metals deposits, the blue polymetallics. Why is that important? Well, we don't need to go through all the extra steps to process it. This would be a doré. We don't need smelters, we don't need concentrates. This is very, very straightforward. You mine it, you get gold, silver, and you're left with beach sand. Now along the y-axis, and here's the value proposition that I'm going to lay out to you today. We're trading at a 50% discount to our high-grade peers right now. We're higher grade, we're better metallurgy. Once again, doré. We're in a better jurisdiction. Nevada's a good place to be. We're on private land in Nevada. We don't deal with the federal government on anything. This will be expedited permitting. There's effectively zero risk. Next to our project is a mining museum talking about the significance of our project. This is a very famous district in Nevada mining history. This isn't priced in, this resource. We only deployed it about 3 weeks ago. We filed our technical report 3 days ago. Technically driven groups are still wrapping their head around it, and analysts haven't yet updated our targets on the back of this. But we nearly tripled our ounces in the span of 18 months. To do that, it took us all of 8% dilution on a fully diluted basis. We've done a lot with a very little. It is not priced in. This is based on a 200 gram per ton cutoff grade. We got our cutoff grade based on first principles, mining costs that we expect. The geometry of our deposit is amenable to conventional underground mining methods. It's about 80% long hole stoping, 20% cut and fill. The average veins on our property are about 4 meters thick. We're not interested in the narrow vein stuff. We didn't model any of it. This is easy to mine. The metallurgy is good, and it should be a cash cow at these metal prices. But the next slide, I'm going to show you something that no one else in the industry will show you. This is what our deposit looks like if we use a 400 cutoff grade. Pretty much every single one of our competitors, the low-grade ones, need a lot, everything to go right to make money. In this situation, every single thing can go wrong. Our cutoff grade could double. We still have 70 million ounces using a 400 cutoff grade. The only difference is our average block diluted grade goes up to just under 800 grams per ton. This works in any price environment. This is something that any major mining company, whether they're gold or silver producers, would want to have in their portfolio. The jurisdiction's right, the metallurgy's good, and it's big, and it's about to get bigger. So what is this? It's the queen of the silver camps, as I said, second only the Comstock lode in the silver state of Nevada. Very famous district. It was discovered in 1900. 30 good years they had up until the Great Depression. They produced 174 million ounces of silver and 1.8 million ounces of gold. But what's really impressive is that only came from 7.5 million tons. What does that mean? It means it's high grade and the metallurgy was fantastic. The old timers got all of that production out of stamp mills. You'll see it's a low to mid sulfidation epithermal deposit that we're on. Now, we're the first group to come back in since production shut down at the onset of the Great Depression. It really shut down due to technical issues. The district itself, it was an east-west vein corridor. All of the early production happened on the east side of the district. So what this shows is the average production of the district. And you'll see it was discovered in 1900. Big mining companies came, consolidated, set up shop, and by 1912 it was producing up to 12, 13 million silver equivalent ounces per year. The real nail in the coffin happened, though, as the old-timers moved westward. The west side of the district was the side of the district where the last producing mines were, the last development was, when, I guess, metals prices tanked, and when the last mine producing in the district, which was called Victor, they flooded it out. They couldn't get reliable water pumps in time. They took out a lot of debt while they were getting commissioned, and by the time they were commissioned, built, and shipped over from Europe, metals prices had tanked to such a point that all the debt they took out really couldn't pay it back. The company went into Chapter 11, and we were the first group to come in 90 years later and pick it up. We've proven the proof of concept. You know, it sounded too good to be true when I was around here, when we got the project in April of 2020. No one really believed that, we said at the Victor mine where they stopped mining, the vein was said to be 24 meters thick. They believed it when we put our first drill hole out. We hit 30 meters of a kilogram per ton silver equivalent. 3 years later, since our first drill hole, we've now backstopped it with 100 million ounces silver equivalent. On an in-situ metals basis, it's about 50-50, depending on the price of silver, between silver and gold. What you'll see, the average grade, so we use a 200-gram cutoff based off of first principles. Our block diluted grade is 508. Our cutoff grade is 200. It's more than double the cutoff grade. The block diluted grade is more than double. This is as robust of an operation as you're going to see in the silver space. Most importantly, though, we think it's got a lot of room to go. As I said, you know, there's a lot of marginal projects in the industry. This is the sensitivity analysis. This is the first time I've shown this because we just filed it in our technical report the other day. It's not sensitive to metals prices. Using a 200, you got 100 million ounces. If we go to 400, which no one else in the industry shows, we're still left with 70 million ounces. We're not done drilling it. We've got some big gaps left to drill. Yeah, this is what the district looked like in 1908 on the lower portion of the screen. It's an east-west vein corridor, as I said. They started mining from big outcropping veins right at surface. They were supergene enriched. The eating was good back then. Over time, everything moved to the west. The west side is where the last development was done, where the last commercial production happened. And the west side of the district is the side we've consolidated. We've got the blue sky portion, and we've drilled out about 4 kilometers along the vein system beyond where those old-timers left off. So Tonopah itself, it's sandwiched in between 2 calderas. There's a southern caldera, which is home to a lot of gold-rich, low-grade deposits right at surface. But it's the Tonopah North caldera. About 21 million years ago, Mother Nature, she was violent. She had a bad day. She blew up this volcano, and she left behind a whole bunch of gold and silver. Now, what we found with a lot of drilling is that the district was thought to be east-west trending back in the old days. Well, Turns out it's true. It does go east-west, and we got the western half of the district. But what we noticed with drilling is that the mineralization wants to follow up around the margin of the caldera, around the blow-off top of the volcano, like the mineralization's following the rim of a coffee cup. And that's very fortunate. One, for two reasons is, well, we figured out which way it's going, and there's nothing at surface to guide you. The other good reason is, had it kept going to the west, we'd run out of land. So we threaded the needle. So this is what the deposits look like. In about a few things I'll orient with you on the satellite map. That red line cutting across your property, that's US Highway 95. That's what connects Vegas to Reno. To the east of us is the town of Tonopah. We're walking distance to to one of the most famous hotels in Nevada, called the Mizpah. It was the tallest building in Nevada up until around 1940. Tonopah was truly the center of the universe in Nevada back in the early 1900s. Now what you'll see are three different deposit areas scoped out. We got Victor to the northeast. That was that last mine where they stopped mining that 24-meter thick zone, and that's where we picked up on. In the middle, we've got this area we call DPB, and to the northwest, that's that northwest step out. And as we said, we really cracked the code last year. We put a maiden resource out about a year and a half ago. Our understanding of the district really, it was like a decoder ring or the drill program we did last year, as we figured out the system actually juts up to the northwest. What you'll find on one more round of drilling, small, targeted, easy drilling, infill drilling, we're not going to have three deposits. This is all one big giant system. So we think with a little bit of drilling, we'll be able to tie together this system. It's still wide open to the northwest. I mean, it's going to keep going. But of those 4 kilometers that we've drilled out along that vein system, we've got about 1.5 kilometers internal to that we've yet to drill. So you'll see a big gap between that northwest area and the central area. That's 1 kilometer. That vein corridor is mineralized. We just haven't had the drilling in there yet. In between Victor and DPB in that little wedge, that's about 500 meters. Once again, layup drilling. Just by filling those two in, we think we can add another 40, 50 million ounces. That's from surface. We've yet to really drill it out at density, and we'll do that once we're underground or whoever buys us. We think, obviously, as we drill it out, the average grade will tighten up. On an undiluted basis, we think it should be well north of 600. We don't know how long it keeps going, but we know to the northwest it's wide open. I should say this is patented mining. These are patented claims once again. The federal government has no involvement in us. It doesn't matter if AOC becomes the natural resource minister. We permit this from state and county, and this is a mining county. There's 2 of them that we straddle. But, we don't have to build roads. We don't have to move power lines. There's about 20 different motels within walking distance, and there's a brewery up the street. So, the Queen of the Silver Camps was written off about 90 years ago. Here we are. I've got about, as I said, that's our drill rig in between a Comfort Inn and Suites, a Subway sandwich shop, and the King of Burgers is right across the street. So that's my time. Tip your waiters. Cheers.
Well, Andrew, terrific. That was a really dynamic speech. We want a dynamic round of applause.